How are my kitchen peeps doing? Maggie's back. I missed Monday's video. Whoops. Had a little busy weekend being not busy, and I enjoyed it. So, anywho, we're back, and I'm back on my pasta kick, or still on my pasta kick, or whatever. But tonight, we are going to have pasta carbonara. Yum! Bacon and peas and cream sauce and pasta. It doesn't get any better. So, we're going to throw this together, and it's going to be super easy. Let me kind of turn my camera. I've got my little bacon packets, 8 ounces. We've got some amazing organic parmesan, trilogy, super fast and easy. I'm using coconut milk only because I'm out of the really good, amazing cream-filled milk that I love so much. We've got eggs from our girls in the backyard. And I'm going to throw some organic peas in there because my peas haven't started producing in my garden yet, but they are looking beautiful. At some point, I need to take y'all out there and show you our garden. Some pasta and salt and pepper. And that's all it's going to be. And so having the trilogy and the bacon prepped makes this come together way fast. So let's get the skillet turned on. I will see if I can turn this down so y'all can see, and there we go. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is cook our bacon. I've only had this out of the freezer for maybe, I don't know, an hour or so. Whoops, sorry. I don't mean to keep banging that bell. So it's still a little bit frozen, which is fine because it will thaw super fast. And as you know, our packages are 4 ounces, so we needed 8. So there you go, 2 packages, 8 ounces. Sorry, had to go get something to wipe my greasy hands on. This bacon, I had help cutting up from someone who remained nameless in my family. And it's a little big, a little bigger than I like it, but it's gonna be fine. Once bacon's cooked, I don't care how big it is, it's fine. So see, that one's still a little bit, oh my gosh, I'm sorry I keep doing that. That is going to come apart. All right, so while that's starting to cook, one of the things we do in our cream sauce, and this is just some of those, you know, I talk all the time about prepping ahead and all this. Even while I'm cooking, I will see, okay, I'm waiting on bacon, but instead of just standing here watching the bacon, waiting on it, what else can I be kind of pre-prepping? One of the things we're gonna do is whisk some of the warm milk into a bowl with our eggs. So I'm just gonna have my 4 eggs busted open in my little bowl, sitting here all ready to go. And then there's another step where we add the Parmesan cheese, the salt and the pepper. So I'm just gonna get that together. You know, that's actually something you can pre-prep. But I'm just gonna have it together, sitting in my little measuring cup, ready to go. So, you know, nothing real earth-shattering there, but it's just little things that you can do because I don't know, maybe a little too full of energy or something, but I can't just stand and watch bacon cook. I gotta be doing something. So that's what I do. So I'm gonna pause so y'all don't have to sit here and watch me brown bacon because it doesn't take long. And when it's time to pull this out, and I'll actually time it just so you know, I'll be back. Here's a little tip I'll show you. If you don't have a splatter screen, get you one, but get you a good one. This is a really heavy duty. I used to have a set of 3 sizes and they were cheap and crummy and they didn't work and they tore and they were awful. So I've scrapped those. I think I paid $18 for this. I mean, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's not terribly expensive. And I got one that's really big to fit all my skillets, and it's awesome. We fry bacon every weekend. My husband does it. He makes a ginormous mess. It drives me insane. But anyway, I come behind him and clean up. But when I'm doing it, because I don't want to have to do a huge amount of cleanup, I whip out the splatter screen and just let it sit on there. And it doesn't prevent everything, but it helps quite a bit. If you do this kind of stuff at all, fry any kind of sausage, bacon, any, pork chops, whatever, steaks in a skillet, invest in one. You'll be glad you did. Okay, gonna put it on pause again. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here's one other little thing I'll share with y'all. Since my bacon, number one, is cut up very uneven and it's really kind of big, I'm gonna take some of these pieces, the smaller ones and the more meaty ones that are looking brown and looking good, and pull them out and knock around some of these. You see the ones that are still kind of white? There's a lot of fat in there that hasn't rendered, and you want the fat to render out. So I'm gonna leave those in and let them keep going, but I don't want these other pieces to keep going because then they'll be burned and ooh, pop. So this is a little lesson for making sure if you're chopping this stuff that you chop it small, kind of like this, and even, because otherwise, I've got big hunks and I've got little tiny pieces that don't go, that don't fly when you're cooking. You need even pieces. So I have an extra little irritating step in my cooking today because that wasn't done. So it's not the end of the world. I'm belly aching, but it just makes life a lot easier if you do it like the first time. Fail to plan, plan to fail. It's kind of that old thing. If this had been done right at first, I wouldn't be fooling with this. So anyway, I'll pause you again, and we'll be back in a minute when some of these big, fat, juicy, greasy pieces get rendered down some more. Owie. All right, we'll be back. Okay, I'm back. That took about 12 minutes. It really shouldn't have taken that long had my bacon been cut right, but whatever. So now I'm pouring my bacon grease off, and I need to keep about a tablespoon. So let me get a paper towel. You obviously want to be super careful because this is really hot and you will burn the ever-loving you-know-what out of yourself. And I'll tell you what, I'm probably the queen of kitchen burns. I get going too fast. Wind up hurting myself. So anyway, all right, so your bacon's done, off to the side. Now we're going to add a half a cup of Trilogy. I got a 1/4 cup scoop. So we're going to do 2 of those. And I'll tell you, this is one of those things, you like a little more onion? Add a little more onion. If that's what floats your boat, go for it. But we're just going to cook this down, let the onions kind of get a little bit translucent. Not really, going so far as to caramelize them, but just cook them down some so they're not crunchy. You don't want to crunch them to a piece of onion in your carbonara. So we'll let that go for just a few minutes, and then we're going to add our milk, and it's 1 1/4 cups of milk that we need to add in here. Like I said, I'm using coconut milk because I'm out of my other milk. Bummer, I get some more tomorrow, but that doesn't help me tonight. And I'm using real dairy cheese. So I mix and match those all the dadgum time, and it is perfectly fine. One thing I will tell you, real dairy cheese is saltier than, or any of the dairy products, outside of the straight milk, of course. Cream cheese, sour cream, any of those things are saltier than the dairy-free counterparts. So you need to kind of keep that in mind when you're cooking stuff and you're interchanging and replacing or adding. Like I mentioned real Parmesan, it's going to be quite a bit saltier than dairy-free Parmesan. So if I was using dairy-free, I would need to up my salt just to give it that balanced flavor. But since I'm using the real thing, I don't have to worry about that. Okay, these onions are close. And another good little thing about using Trilogy, at least when I cut my Trilogy, because I cut it pretty small, I just do, it cooks a lot quicker. So that's a good thing as well. If you had just chopped an onion, you'd have bigger pieces unless you really minced it. So it would take a little longer to get soft. All right, we're gonna add, my big old heavy-handed spoon doesn't want to sit there. We're gonna add our 1.25 cups of milk. So there's a cup. And let me get a quarter. Now coconut milk is real thick and creamy. So from a texture perspective, it subs really well for regular dairy. But ooh, this would be so good if I had some of that Kelowna milk, but don't. So whatever. All right, so we're gonna let this warm up a little bit, and then we're gonna mix a little bit of the warm milk in with our eggs. And the only reason for that is you don't want to just dump eggs in here because they'll cook. And you'll have like scrambled curdled eggs in your carbonara, which would be a little weird. Wouldn't ruin it, I don't guess. It would just, the texture would be different. It'd just be a little weird. So we'll get the milk warm. We'll add some milk to the eggs to warm the eggs up. And my eggs are actually room temperature because I don't refrigerate my eggs because they came straight from my backyard and I don't wash them. So they still have the bloom, so I don't have to refrigerate them. And we go through them quick enough. So it won't take as long to get it kind of distributed and warmed up, but that's why you want to do that. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit, and I'll pause y'all so I can grab another spoon without holes and get some over. Well, I don't have to pause you. Good Lord, it's right here. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? I've been at the restaurant all day. You can tell I'm a little goofier than normal, if that's possible. All right, so our milk is warm. I put my whisk right there. Take some of this and do like this. And I tell you what, I hope y'all can see that. I'm gonna whisk. Oh, don't fall in there. Oh, it didn't. Good. All right, I've got a little stainless bowl so I can feel it when it starts getting hot. And it's not. So let me put a little more. I mean, I'm just going to put, oop, felt that one. Huh, went straight through the egg to the bottom. You could get real precise. Get a measuring cup, measure all, blah, blah, blah. I just don't fool with all that. All right, so it's warm. I can feel it on the bottom of the bowl. If you had a glass bowl, it'd be the same thing. So now I'm going to add this in here and whisk away. So we get a nice, rich sauce. And hopefully, oh, I didn't do it very well. I'm getting some little cooked egg pieces. See, I was too busy farting around with my bowl. That's all right. I guarantee you we're going to eat every bit of it. So we're going to get this in here. It's down on low. And we're going to cook it for about 10 minutes. And this is one thing about making carbonara. You kind of want to keep going with it so you don't wind up with a big fat scrambled egg or a big omelet in your pan. So I've got it on low. I'm going to just keep doing this for a few minutes. And yum, it's going to be good. And then I'm going to add my peas, my Parmesan, my salt, my pepper, and put my bacon back in. And then my sauce is ready. Then all I have to do is cook the pasta and toss it all together. And I'm going to wait and do that when my husband gets home from the bus. So this is almost done. I mean, I say almost done. I'm going to go I probably won't go 10 minutes. I just don't ever usually go that long. Probably more like 6 or 7. And I add everything back in. So I'm going to pause while I just keep doing this, and then we'll get those other things added in, and I'll show you that. And then that's it for this dish. And it's super, super flavorful and really tasty. So hold tight. Okay. So our sauce has been simmering. We're going to add in our peas And I actually took mine out of the freezer this morning, or not out of the freezer. Well, yeah, I did. I did take them out of the freezer. Out of the freezer and put them in the refrigerator, just so they would soften up and thaw out. And so they were ready to go. I'm gonna ditch that. We've got our 1/2 cup of Parmesan and our salt and pepper that I measured a few minutes ago. And then we're gonna put our bacon back in here. You can also, and I'm such a weirdo for spinach and chard and such that I almost did it with this, but I thought, y'all are probably thinking, lady, do you ever cook anything besides chard? But I have some fresh from my garden, so I started to use that, but I thought, no, I got peas, and peas are amazing. We have a bunch of peas planted. I can't wait. But, you know, technically, if you want to be really, you know, foo-foo about this, you should serve this pretty quickly. But I don't get too bent out of shape about those things. And it's going to be just fine. So I've got my fire off. I'm going to put a lid on this and just let it sit here. When Eddie will be home in a little less than an hour, we'll throw the pasta on. It takes 10 minutes to cook, and supper is done. I am going to make a salad to go with it. And as a matter of fact, I think I'll make that another video because it's an awesome salad. It's a really good one to do with pasta dishes. So we are going to pause this one here, and we'll be back when I'm not going to show y'all cooking pasta. You know how to put water in a pot, dump some little egg nests or some little pasta nests in there and boil them, and then drain them. Super easy. And then toss them. No big deal. But when it's ready to plate, we'll be back so you can see the final product, and it's yummy. So y'all hang loose, and we'll come back for the final thing. Okay, peeps, here we are. This is pasta carbonara. I just drained all my pasta and mixing it into the cream sauce. And I don't know what it is about bacon and peas, but dadgum, it's a good combination. And with the Parmesan cheese and the cream, it is super tasty and it's really rich and it's really satisfying. So look at that big old glob. How does that look? And like I mentioned earlier, you could do it with chard or spinach. I started to throw some mushrooms in here just because I'm kind of a mushroom fanatic, but I didn't. I just left it true to the original. So there it is. I got the watery mouth. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Serve it to your family. They'll love it. It's good stuff. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And we'll see you in the next video.